Trains haven't been running on my Tokaido line for at least 2 years, and as a result the tracks are dull and dirty. And the platforms, well, they're pretty bare and dusty as well. Now, I recently had family visit, and it appears they found my stash of engaged figures. And as a result, people had now started to gather on the platforms. Now, you cannot have passengers without a train. So I think it's time for me to troubleshoot my Tokaido line. Welcome to the Yamakaigan layout. The Tokaido line is one of the lines on this layout, and as I mentioned, it hasn't been used for some time. So today I plan to get it up and running. This schematic depicts the Tokaido line and also shows the hidden storage area of my layout. Through here the coastal line comes in, does a return loop, and you can see the various storage tracks. So I'll take that out of the picture just so it's a little bit clearer. Okay. Now on the right hand side, this is the area that you see in the actual layout room itself. It's a double track line that runs through the layout room. It has a main station called Nigawa. And I've designed the hidden storage so that trains from both the north line and the south line enter in the same direction. This enables me to change over to any of the storage tracks as I want, and all departing trains will also leave in the same direction. I've got 4 storage tracks for the north line, which can handle long trains, and 4 for the south line, which can also handle long trains. In addition, I can store another 8 trains on these tracks. The schedules are set up so as one of these shorter trains departs, the next train will automatically move up to the vacated slot. And these trains can go on to either the north or south line as I wish. I did some basic testing yesterday and have found that trains from the north line come to an abrupt stop just before this double crossover. So that is probably a dry track joiner, which I can either solder or add a jumper wire to. Trains on the bottom blocks here, they travel through at a really slow speed, and I'm not too sure why that is. Power gets routed from this end through 3 of the power routing turnouts, so there might be a voltage drop somewhere there. Just needs further checking. Most of the turnouts on this layout are Tormix, and they are on average 20 years old and have been used in my previous layouts. They're giving pretty good service, but I have found that there is one here that will throw okay, but for some reason the power doesn't get through. So I might need to just tweak that one. All of these blocks are set up so as the train enters, it will start to brake. At the same time, an infrared beam will start at the end of that block, and when the train brakes it, then the train will come to a stop. For some reason, this particular block is not working as it should, and the train continues. So I need to look at that as well. The biggest problem facing the Tokaido line is most of the rolling stock, which is Tormix, is now 30 years old. Now admittedly there are a couple of more recent ones here, and there are some Kato ones as well, which are equally as old. The actual locos run very well indeed, no problems with those. Even this old spring-driven one still runs well. But it's the unit trains that are causing the headache. They do run well once they're running, it's just startup is the problem. Like I might be in front of the computer screen, I might start one of these trains, I might then get a pop-up message to say it hasn't reached its next stop within a reasonable period, or I might see on the camera screen that the train has failed to start. I've then got to walk in here and give it a gentle nudge. And away it goes. It's not the ideal thing. To improve cold starting, in the past I have ensured that the wheels, the rails and the contact springs are kept very clean, and I've profiled these trains so that they will start at a minimum speed of 50 kilometers per hour, which doesn't look very good at a station start. In the storage area they start at a full 80 kilometers an hour just to hopefully break that inertia and get them running. Now I should be thinking outside the square and finding some way of nudging these trains remotely, and the best solution that I can think of is having a motor screwed underneath the baseboard which turns an unbalanced load. So if a train doesn't start, I just press a push button, the motor spins a few times, creates a bit of vibration, and that would be enough to just get the train moving. And as I said, once it's moving, it goes fine. Back in the 90s you could buy these commuter type trains such as the 211 series, either as a box 6 or 7 car set, or you could purchase the individual cars, whether they be the N car, the motorized car, or any of the other ones available. And I was able to build up 2 10-car sets and 3 5-car sets, which was ideal for my commuter runs. And with this layout I originally had them on my commuter or my suburban line, and they would run from Nagawa through to the hidden town of Northsea. But when they started becoming a little bit unreliable, I moved them to the Tokaido line, and I bought Kato Hankyu units for this. Now the Hankyu units are very nice to look at. But unfortunately there was one set which just was a big disappointment. It has never run well, it stops and stutters and what have you, and I've looked at the motor a few times, and I probably need to have another go at it and see whether I can once and for all get it running properly. You can no longer buy replacement cars or even parts for this earlier 211 series. So to extend the life of what I do have, I've purchased a couple of 2-car sets. Now it's actually a different line, it's a 313 series, and they can pull these larger rakes quite comfortably. Now they don't look prototypical, but most people wouldn't notice the difference, and at least I don't have to mothball the various trains that I do have. One set is a Tormix and the other set is a Modimo. I've steered clear of Kato, as I've found with other 2-car units that I bought from them that the motors are underpowered and the driving car only has one set of the bogies connected to the drive shaft. So for a layout like mine, they just don't cut the mustard. Even though these trains are the old analog type, I can still profile them with the Software Railroad & Co. Because the hardware behind the Tokaido line is basically a number of stationary decoders manufactured by RCI. These are no longer made, so hopefully they'll continue to give good service. Now this is the hidden storage area, and we're looking at that middle track. So the black part is a re-railer, and then there's a small joiner, and then a double crossover. So let's just see how the train runs over that lot. And here it comes, across the re-railer, onto the crossover, and it stops when all wheels are on the crossover. That's where the problem will be. We'll take off the loco and get that rolling stock out of the way. Now I've got a little tool here which tells me if there's a current going through the track. It's all looking good so far. A dimmer light, so there is current going through the crossover, but it's definitely not as much, not enough for the loco. Just try that part again there, it's fairly dim. Yeah, that's where the problem will be. Now I'll just see if I can use these tweezers to act as a jumper over the rail joiner. There we go. So it's faulty on that side, and we'll try the other side. Open wide. Right, we're going to need a filling there. Looks like the camera's moved. Not to worry, at least you won't be able to criticise my poor soldering. And the first thing I do is I'm just going to polish off the fish plates, rail joiners, and I'll do both sides. A bit hard to see what I'm doing actually, but anyway, hopefully that's cleaned up the main part of the track. Now just follow up with some flux. This is to prepare the metal surfaces for soldering by cleaning and removing any oxides and impurities. And I'll put another application on just as I am about to do the actual soldering of each join. And hopefully that will get down in between the rail joiner and the rail itself. Now see that one of the joiners has moved slightly, so I'll just reposition that. Okie doke, next step is the soldering, so just clean up the tip add some solder and try to get it in the right place. From where I am it's very hard to see what I'm doing. I'm basically working blind. Nothing like the smell of smoking sleepers. Now I've cut out all of my swear words. There we go. Now I'll just do a quick test, make sure it's all smooth. And now for the final test. Well, I'd call that a success. Fault fixed, and I didn't even burn my fingers this time. Well, time's marching on, so I'll keep working away here and give you an update next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.